Hi guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. I did see that I got some relatively new subscribers to this channel, so I'm hoping if you do like my content, you will either leave a comment in the comment section and let me know. If you don't like my content, or if you think I'm missing the mark in some of these videos, or there's other topics you want me to discuss, please, I urge you to leave a comment, because I guarantee you when I go to do other videos, I do take into account well thought out comments that are geared towards this channel in the YouTube videos that I produce, okay? I also want to thank you guys for subscribing and viewing this channel. As I said before, this is not a hype-filled channel. Some of you will get bored with some of these videos because I'm not throwing Legos at the screen. I'm not forcing you to watch me eat a hot dog or doing anything stupid that a lot of the other YouTubers are doing to attract an audience base, okay? I've even thought about changing up the background a little bit in my videos, which I'm going to start to do, but it's taking me longer than most because I don't just want people that want to watch this video just to see what I have in the background or what I have on the table in front of me. This is a thinking person's channel that teaches you advanced collecting fundamentals and how to analyze collecting markets in the greater antiques and collectibles trade from the standpoint of a sophisticated investor, okay? This channel is set up to make you become a better collector, a better speculator, and or a sophisticated investor, if that's what you want to be, and also change your thinking on certain fallacies that I see collectors and speculators operating under a incorrect mindset in the trade. That's why I created this channel. I never ever expect this channel to get 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 subscribers. It's just most likely not going to happen because it's not hype driven. And that's what people want. I've said this before. They want to be told what to buy, what to sell, when to sell it, when to buy it, what price they should pay, and even if you can, offer them a discount on the item if you're the seller. That's what people want in the greater antiques and collectibles trade. That's not what this channel is for. This channel allows you to analyze what other people are telling you to buy and sell and come up with strategies and go, okay, is this person for real? If I buy this item at X number of dollars and I hold it for X number of years, is that really a viable strategy compared to I can put the money in the stock market, I can invest it in real estate, or I can invest it in other antiques and collectibles? So what's my opportunity cost if I'm going to put my money over here as opposed to this collecting category? These are all questions that you have to ask yourself and think logically. That's what this channel is geared towards to do. I did not do a video yet on opportunity costs, but it is coming, make no mistake. It's a very important topic. It's an economic principle, but it also applies to almost everything we buy and do, and it applies specifically in the antiques and collectibles trade. So that video is coming. Today's topic, however, we're going to talk about the effect of American Pickers and Pawn Stars has had on the greater antiques and collectibles trade, what I like about both shows, and what I dislike about both shows. So I'm going to start with the first one that came out in 2009, and if you don't know which one that is, that's Pawn Stars. Pawn Stars on paper was a great idea. I give a lot of credit to Rick Harrison and his family. They are excellent business people, whether you like them or not, or whether you question sometimes their ethics or how they behave, as opposed to the American Pickers, which I'll get to in a minute. That said, Rick Harrison spent several years shopping his idea of pretty much a reality-based television show centered around a pawn shop. He spent many years shopping it to different networks. He settled on the History Channel because the History Channel kind of did it from an intellectual perspective, in that it wasn't going to be focused on, I don't know if you guys remember this show. Any of you guys ever hear the show? I think it was Hardcore Pawn. I think it's a show that takes place in Detroit near the 8 Mile. And it's about a guy and his family that owns this particular pawn shop. And the show I do not like, personally, because it centers too much around antics of crazy people or unhinged people that come in expecting to get a ton of money for some of the items that they have that they're going to sell. And also, I think the concept of how the family treats some of their customers is just a little bit too much for me to comprehend, believe, and want to tolerate. That said, it's great entertainment. If you're a fan of the Jerry Springer Show, you'll like Hardcore Pawn, okay? It just does very little for me, okay? So I was kind of glad, and I know that show I think came out after Pawn Stars, okay, because it went in a different direction. So I was kind of glad that, to be fair to the Harrison family, Pawn Stars at least tried to show a different side of a pawn shop. Unfortunately, my problem is the side that Rick Harrison is showing is not accurate, and that has caused a lot of problems since the show's debut. Now again, you have to understand what was happening in the greater economy when both Pawn Stars and American Pickers came out and premiered. American Pickers premiered a year after Pawn Stars in 2010. Both shows premiered on the History Channel. The greater economy, though, was in an extreme recession. This is why antiques and collectibles merged with reality television. It was a way that networks could get viewers watching their shows while having kind of a treasure hunt or a financial aspect of the shows that caused people to go, well, what if I have something valuable sitting in my attic, basement, kid's bedroom, whatever it is? And that's the type of dynamic, the type of audience they wanted to capture at that time. Okay? Do I agree with that? No, I think most of the reality-based collecting shows in the greater antiques and collectibles trade honestly kind of take advantage of their viewers, and I kind of hinted in that in my video on Storage Wars and even a little bit with Antiques Roadshow. Okay? I really do, because I'm going to tell you guys, if you guys get into the trade and you get in full time, I'm talking 40, 60, 80 hours a week where you live and breathe this stuff, the one thing you're going to realize is that no reality television represents the trade 100%. And I think most of my viewers, and at least the people who read my articles for Antiques and Auction News, know that already. They expect that there's obviously a lot of Hollywood or reality television being, how do I want to say this, a little bit manipulative in their approach. The problem I have with Pawn Stars is Rick Harrison had one goal, actually he had several goals when he created the show, but one of them was to shine a different light on what Pawn Stars are and what they do in American society. Now I gotta be completely truthful with you guys, okay? The two industries I hate the most in America, okay, and again, I'm speaking from America because I live in Boyertown, Pennsylvania, which is in America. It would be unfair for me to comment on Europe or Japan, to be fair. I hate the payday lending business. I think that it should be outlawed. I think that there should be laws against payday lending. I think it preys on the most vulnerable, poverty-stricken people in American society. And I have to state this, I do not like the pawn business. Even irregardless of whether it's presented in a unique light from Rick Harrison and his family, or if it's somebody like you that lives in a town and you have a pawn shop at the seedy part of town and you go to visit it just to find good deals, okay? I am still against the way the trade operates with taking in items, giving somebody either credit or a loan or buying the items outright. I'm not against, obviously, because I'm in the greater antiques and collectibles trade, I'm not against the secondary marketplace. What I am against, though, is the idea that almost anybody who can get a license, and more on that in a minute here, can set up shop and just go into business and lend somebody money on like a graded video game or whatever they have in their house, charge interest, and most of the people, I know that some of you are going to criticize me for this, but they're not reading the fine print. They're not understanding what the real cost of interest is. For instance, if somebody's charging you 20% a month, okay, you have to multiply that number by 12 to get the yearly interest rate that they're charging you. That's 240%. So if you need cash and you go to hawk something, all right, and you take it to a pawn shop and they give you a loan against it and the interest rate is 20% per month and you're paying it back over 3 months, you're paying 60% interest on an item you already own just to get cash out of it. One of the things, and this should be known by now for how many videos I produce, I comment a lot on financial independence and financial responsibility. I truly believe, and I've said this before, if you're going to operate, I don't care, just as a speculator and or an investor in the greater antiques and collectibles trade, I'm just going to say it, you really have to have your shit together, okay? There's no room for mistakes or miscalculations or tying up money in like a $2,000 or $3,000 coin, okay, when you have school loans that you're paying 7-8% interest on. It's not a wise business decision to put money in assets that are not paying you any dividends or interest or any other returns while you are paying such a high premium on debt. And that could be credit card debt, that could be a mortgage, car payment, school loan, whatever it is. Be very careful how you spend any of your discretionary income. That's going to become a major theme in a lot of my future videos, okay? I'm going to talk a lot about that because I am educated in finance, okay? I'm not currently licensed in anything. Thank God for that, because I don't want to be regulated. That said, though, I can offer my opinions on that in such a way that I think it will benefit my audience. And keep in mind, I am not your financial advisor, okay? I'm not giving you direct advice. I'm talking in general when I talk about finance and investing in any of these videos. So going back to the Pawn Stars, another problem I have, and this is something that a lot of people don't get, okay? If you want to enter the pawn trade, let's say that you, wherever you live in America, if you want to go out and you want to get a license and open up a pawn shop, this is what people don't understand. Municipalities and townships only give out so many licenses for each town or municipality. And those licenses are not free. You have to pay for them. You can pay upwards of $250,000 for a license just to open a pawn shop. The average person does not understand this. It's not about going out and finding real estate or renting a good location or having all the money that you need to not only be able to acquire inventory, but also to lend people who come in and want to pawn items for cash or loans. You also have to have money on cash to do that. What I respect about Rick Harrison is he started in the rare coin business. That's why I watch Pawn Stars when I do, because he comments a lot on rare coins and currency and historical documents, first edition books, artwork, a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in, more as a sophisticated investor, premieres on his show. Now this leads me to my first criticism of Pawn Stars. If you go out and you open up a pawn shop, chances are no one's going to bring you a Picasso sitting in front of a storage unit, or a Salvador Dali, or a piece of high-grade currency that was passed down from their great-grandfather. You're not going to get any of these items on average. You know what you're going to get? You're going to get electronics. You're going to get used beat-up video games. You're going to get garden tools, power tools, DVD players, computers, a lot of obsolete technology. The reason why, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know this, I don't mean to insult your intelligence, but the reason why Pawn Stars gets the items that they get traded into their shop is because they're located in Las Vegas. A lot of the people that bring them stuff, either he has name recognition, or it's people that are willing to sell something to go gamble or have fun with the money, okay? If you live your life like that, you may have fun, okay? You may do some things that the average person doesn't do on a regular basis, but you will not build long-term wealth. If you are taking items to a pawn shop and selling them for less than market value, and or getting a loan against the item so you could go buy alcohol, flirt with a pretty lady, and gamble your money away. That's not where you want to be, guys. Trust me, okay? That's my problem with Pawn Stars. It makes it seem like this is the norm for every pawn shop out there. When people don't may not have an understanding of how a pawn business works. It's just like I also have a problem with the fact that they have an expert for everything on speed dial. Now, to be fair, I want to clarify here. I have no problem with any of the experts that appear in that show, okay? I do know some of them, not personally, but I've done business with some of the companies they represent. For instance, I'll bring one up right now. Rebecca Romney is the rare book expert. I have done business with Bauman's Rare Books. They're located out of Las Vegas. I think they have a location in Philadelphia too. I have done business though with the Las Vegas location. She is very sharp, knows her stuff, and is probably one of the greatest book experts out there today, okay? The problem that I have though, the average pawn shop would never have a need, number one, for a rare book expert, and number two, if you would open up a pawn shop, the chances of you getting a rare book in that you would have to evaluate like that would be slim to none. And number three, I hate to say this, guys, but if you enter the antiques and collectibles trade, it's your job to know what somebody wants to sell you and what to pay for it. It's not an expert's decision. It shouldn't be up to someone else. It's your business. Run it as such. If you're not knowledgeable on the products that you sell and carry, well, you're not going to be successful in business. It's just like with Magic the Gathering. I'll use this as an example. There's a lot of fakes, proxies, and other shady items on the market that I see listed on eBay and other auction sites that someone like me won't touch with a 10-foot pole. There's other people, though, that want to take a risk on that stuff, and as long as you pay with PayPal, you're pretty much protected. That said, you still have to know what you're looking at to authenticate a truly rare, quote-unquote, authentic card, okay, from the coveted, Alpha, Beta, Arabian Nights, whatever set you're buying for, okay? That's something that takes specialized knowledge. So even if you want to open up a Magic the Gathering store online, please do not open up a game store in 2019. I could go on and on about that. Rudy with Alpha Investments is spot on his analysis on opening up a game store and why you shouldn't. All of his reasons in those videos that he did on that subject matter were great. I have no how do I want to say this? No criticism against those videos. Just want to put that out there. And that said, I do not agree with everything that Rudy says. I'll cover that in another video for some of you guys that are wondering what my thoughts are on the Magic the Gathering marketplace at present time, okay? Not going to go into this video. But I do agree, I would say 70 to 80% of a lot of the commentary he produces I do agree with. It's just when he gets into certain investing fundamentals and also some of his thoughts on the greater vintage Magic marketplace, I disagree with substantially. So we'll get to that in another video. But my point is, if you're going to go out and you're going to sell or carry something like vintage Pokemon cards, vintage video games, whatever, you really have to know your product, okay? An expert is not going to be in speed dial. For instance, even if you know me as a friend and you call me up and you go, hey, I need help appraising something, I can't come to you right away. You're going to have to make an offer if you're willing to buy or sell, whatever you're doing. You're going to have to take the risk and then show it to me later if you're a friend of mine. Okay? Most people are not sitting around in their houses waiting to be called up. Yo, I got somebody here that just brought in a first edition Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Can you authenticate it for me? So you kind of have to understand that's where reality television comes in to kind of make it seem like, oh yeah, I'll be right there, don't worry. And they come in and they appraise the item and that's that. If you take something to a pawn shop, I'm going to say this, or even an antique dealer, and you want to sell the item, it's not the pawn shop's or antique dealer's job to appraise the item for you. That said, and I want to put a caveat here, if you're coming to someone like me in the greater antiques and collectibles trade, and you word your question like this, Sean, I have a very rare, what I think is rare, uncommon, Tiffany vase. I would like you to authenticate it and let me know what it's worth because I'm thinking of selling it. Now, the way that you worded that question, because I'm active in the greater antiques and collectibles trade, I have an ethical obligation to provide you with a written appraisal. I should not, anytime during that discussion, offer to buy that item from you. This is something that a lot of the average people who have never operated in the antiques and collectibles trade and have been affiliated with the ethics portion of the trade understand, okay? If you go to an antique dealer and you say, let me rephrase the question, I have what I think is a rare uncommon Tiffany vase. How much will you give me for it, Sean? Now you're asking me to buy the item. You're not asking me to appraise it. If you're asking me to buy the item, I can ethically make an offer on that item, what I think it's worth to me. That can be lower or it can be higher, depending on circumstances, than market value. And if you're wondering why I would ever pay higher than market value, it does happen because I may have a buyer that really wants that particular item and is willing to pay a premium for it. So that may benefit somebody who comes to me with that particular item. Do you follow? For sale, they may benefit at a higher resale price for them because I already have a buyer in the wings where I don't have to market the item. I don't have to worry about it being a cost of inventory item where it sits on a shelf and I can't move it. Okay? So that's very important to note. And as I've said throughout these videos, a lot of my commentary teaches advanced collecting strategies. That's one. An appraiser in the antiques and collectibles trade who is also a dealer, there's nothing unethical about that. However, if you come to me to appraise something, I cannot offer to buy the item if you only want an appraisal. I can charge you for the appraisal, but I cannot offer to buy the item. It's the way the question is asked and or what you want out of the consultation with someone like me. That's what you have to understand that, okay? Because one of the things, and there's going to be more videos on this channel about that particular topic, but ethics is very important, especially on the antique side of the trade. There's a lot of unethical people operating in the trade. There's a lot of even issues with items that may or may not have been authenticated properly. And there's people paying six figures for some of these items, guys, that are not what they're represented to be. And I want to just put this out there. The reason why I tell you guys to focus on items that can be third-party graded if you're just starting out in the greater antiques and collectibles trade is because even a lot of the high-end auction houses that I put a lot of trust in, they make a lot of mistakes. And I'm not going to go into detail too much on that in these videos because I have to be careful over what I say and what I present to you. But at the same token, I also said that this channel would be completely unbiased. So it's unfair for me to protect some of these auctioneers when I can show you examples of items that were not vetted properly, sold for a significant sum, and then were later found out to be either not representable of what the auction house deemed them to be, and the person that bought the item is really in, I hate to say it, most auction contracts, you go and bid on heritage auctions, any of the big boys, okay? There's fine print. We're not responsible if the item isn't what we say it is. So you're pretty much, I hate to say it, SOL, if you know what that means. It's, you took the risk, okay? So I think that that's a good segue to talk about why I'm talking about Pawn Stars, because it kind of fits, if you can kind of see their correlation. Another problem I have with Pawn Stars is, once again, it misrepresents a lot of the values. Most people don't realize this. Pawn Stars has come out, and I said this at the beginning of the video, back in 2009. There's still people out there watching episodes from 2010, 2011. Well, prices change daily in the greater antiques and collectibles trade, okay? Almost overnight, really. So a lot of the price information that's out there in a lot of the earlier episodes is no longer accurate. Some of the prices are lower, some of the prices are higher. Just depends what the item in question that we're talking about is. Now, I understand some of you may get upset and say, well, Sean, you could say that about every reality TV show, even Antiques Roadshow. And I'm going to say, yes, you can. But the viewer who is watching Antiques Roadshow, I'm going to just state this, is a little bit more sophisticated with a mind for antiques than the average person watching Pawn Stars. Okay? And I can prove that just by looking at the analytics of the data of the viewers that watch Antiques Roadshow versus the core audience of Pawn Stars. Okay? I'm just going to put that out there. So, do I watch Pawn Stars? Yes. I take the information, though, with a grain of salt. It's more entertainment. You know, I don't like all the antics with Chun-Li and Corey and all that crap. I just like being exposed to art, historical documents, coins, currency, rare books, items that I'm truly interested in and invested in. That's what I like watching it for. Now, we're going to get talking about American Pickers here. American Pickers is by far one of the best shows and one of the worst shows you can watch in regards to the greater antiques and collectibles trade. Now, this video is at 25 minutes. If I start talking about American Pickers, this is going to be a 50-minute video minimum, and it will most likely reach over an hour. So what I'm going to do is, guys, I'm going to talk about American Pickers in another video. I thank you for watching. Again, I've said this before. You guys can show your appreciation to these videos by subscribing, by liking my commentary, and also by putting comments in the comment section. If there is something you are unhappy about, if there's something where you think I should comment more on something, please put a comment in the comment section so I know. Don't just downvote or whatever it is, unlike the video or what have you. That tells me nothing. I really want your feedback because I think I'm doing something kind of unique here, that you should be getting something out of these videos more so than watching some of the other 100 or 200 YouTubers that just throw stuff at the screen and pretty much rant incoherently about items in the vintage video game field or the art market or comic books, what have you, okay? If you do like my videos, please consider leaving me a comment, liking, or subscribing. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.